So they played at a much higher level recently, and there's no doubt they're doing a great job against the run. But this week's about us and getting better in that department.
I know you don't want to win that way, kind of not be able to run the ball effectively with the running backs, but is that something you can do consistently?
If number 5 is healthy, yes. You know, I mean, in this league, you're going to have to run it at some point, particularly going to the NFC, you look at some of the teams, some of the places you may have to play. But, yeah.
And we've asked you this before, but Jaden's consistency, particularly at the end of games, I know you saw it like on the tape in college and you've seen it a couple times this year, but is it surprising, or what is the key for like it to keep happening?
Yeah, I think his belief in himself and his ability just in those moments to just really lock in and focus. And he's as good as I've ever been around as far as just playing the next play. Like he doesn't let much phase him. He knows the work he's put in during the week, and he focuses on that. And so it's like the result is what it is, and he can process it and move forward. And for a young guy to be able to handle that with all he has going on has been really impressive.
What does David Blau bring to the quarterback's room? How does he help you?
Yeah, he's been phenomenal. He's one of the smartest quarterbacks I've ever been around. I just had him a little bit in Arizona, and he picked up the offense in like 5 days, and we had him starting a couple of days later and executed at a really high level. And I was just his kind of steady habits, how he interacted with other players, you know, how he communicated with coaches. I always thought like this guy would be a phenomenal coach, and his experience with the young quarterbacks, being so young and so recently a part of the game, I think that carries a lot of weight with those guys. Like he can share his experiences, a guy who maximized everything he was to get where he's at, and it hits home. And so he's been a great voice in that room. And then for me, some of the blind spots I have or Tavita has, you know, having just come out of that role as a backup or having started games, it just carries a lot of weight when he speaks.
This was not totally focused on offense, but you're around Jaden so much. You've seen these guys interact. His relationship with Bobby Wagner, how have you kind of seen that grow? I mean, it seems like they're always just, you know, taking shots at each other playfully. But
a lot of trash talking. But I think Jaden, he has great self-awareness, great situation awareness. He knows, like, that's what greatness looks like, the level he's done it at for so many years, how he carries himself, how he studies, you know, how he plays the game. And that's, I know, a goal of Jaden's is to be known for a guy who does it the right way on and off the field, and there's no better role model to have in your locker room than Bobby.
And you talk about with the run game in practice, what little things are happening in the game that you think could be cleared up by practice?
Yeah, I think just a little bit too much paralysis by overanalysis. You know, if you're going to make a mistake, we got to make it full speed. It's the picture is going to change, defense is going to do different things, show different fronts, but I feel like there's some hesitation. We've got a bunch of smart guys up there that have done a great job sorting things out, but I feel like we're not just firing and we're kind of waiting at this point. And it's like, hey, we're going to cut it loose, play downhill. If we make a mistake, we'll go full speed and let the backs play off of it.
And then how has Ben Sate developed in both roles, pass catcher and blocker?
Yeah, he's, you know, a very skilled football player, there's no doubt. I think the blocking aspect is something that we're continuing to work on with him. You know, it's a different speed, different level of play, but he's made big strides in that area, and we'll continue to bring him along. You know, he's behind one of the greatest pass-catching tight ends in the history of the league, and so that keeps a few reps off his plate, but we're very pleased with, you know, his progress so far.
I seem to remember going back even to the preseason, you seem to be, with Jaden's understanding of what he's seeing, his leadership, that you were pretty willing to say, hey, if you see something, go for it. What was it about his ability to see things, to lead out there, that for you was like, okay, we're good here? Yeah,
just early on. I mean, when he said something and he had information, it was spot on. You know, I mean, he nailed it, and he saw coverages and he saw releases and he saw, hey, we got this guy because of this. And so it didn't take many plays into like rookie minicamp. I was like, all right, this guy, he's going to be up here, as far as recognizing what he's seeing and being able to communicate like that. And that's huge for coaches to be able to coach off that and be able to help through that, because there are guys who will come up with the reasons why this wasn't over, I thought this, and he just will say it as it is, and he's the first one to say my bad if he screws something up too. So that gains a lot of trust with the coaching staff.
And I know that the teaching aspect for him is going to be every day, and not just for this year, but for the years to come. But at this point in the year, when you've got down to 2 regular season games and maybe more, is it more about focusing on improving what you're doing already versus throwing in different stuff that maybe ultimately you want that, but maybe it's a little late in the season for that.
Yeah, I think with him right now, it's just making sure we don't get bored with doing the proper footwork and the correct read and taking the right check down, which I thought he did a tremendous job avoiding sacks, getting the ball out of his hand, throwing it away last week. Like, don't get bored with making the routine play. I mean, he can do the Superman stuff when it's called for, and he does, but I think that's a big deal. Stay within yourself, stay within the system, and when it's time to make those plays, you're going to make those plays. So he did a nice job last week, and we just got to stay right there with it.
Apologies for one more Jaden question.
No, they're all good, baby. Keep them coming. I can talk about them all day.
On the part about him putting things behind him quickly, can we go back to last week for a moment? He threw an interception late in the game. It was really one of the first times late. Fifth turnover late in the game. It's a mistake, could have lost the game. Was there anything in that moment you can share with us about his demeanor, what was said, to turn back around, get back on the field, and go win the game?
Yeah, he doesn't change at all on that stuff. You could just tell from the look in his eye, if we get the ball back, we're going to go win it. And that was like his feel. That's, one of the most brazen throws he's probably made, if you will. And I think he was just trying to make a play. But, yeah, he reset, and there was no like, oh, we lost the game or that's on me. I was like, all right, if we get the ball back, I'm going to go win it. And that's what the sideline felt and his teammates felt and his coaches felt. Yeah, if you're going to do that, you got to complete it. That's really it. It's like you can't high five him for all the ones that work and then crush him for the one that doesn't. I understood it was 3rd and long, critical situation. He's trying to make a play. That was a bit ambitious of a throw, but yeah, it's like, hey, if you're going to throw that one, got to make it work, dog, and then you move forward.
Has anything with Jaden surprised you?
I would say just he's as good a player as he's an even better person, like towards his teammates, his coaches, like watching this Christmas stuff. Like, he's a phenomenal human being above all else. And I didn't know him on that level. I knew the tape. I was like, this is as good as I've seen, progressing through and making plays with his feet. But he is a tremendous person.
The last time talking to Jameson, I know you guys practiced that during the week. Was that always a duty to go to Jameson, or is there?
It was not. That was a Dave Blau play that he brought with him, and Jameson really sets it high, and Zach comes underneath, and Zach's the main target. But Friday practice, we repped that, and he hit Jameson like a one-handed diving catch, and I was like, never seen that before. And then we hit in the game, so it was like some universe shit. And then the second play, this is a true story, the second play, we ended practice with a safe 2-point conversion, and at the time I'm like, who does a safe 2-point conversion? Let's just throw it, whatever. But it's a run play. You're up 1. Hopefully they don't pick it off and run it back. And so that situation came up exactly like it did on Friday. So shout out DQ, and then Dave Gardy, our situational guy, manifested it. I'm telling you. Yeah, it's not that extreme, but yeah, something like that. Thank y'all. Appreciate it.